Welcome to TwoPictures. My name is Isabelle.
And I'm CK. In this generation, child abuse cases have been high in the charts, and a large amount of cases have been reported. Most people are not very sure about child abuse and the outcomes of it, so
in today's video, we are going to be explaining about what child abuse is, so stay tuned to our in-depth report on this issue. Child abuse is defined as a variety of harmful behaviors directed to a child by a caregiver or the parent. It can harm children in many torturous ways, which comes in forms like physical, sexual, emotional, and mental abuse. Child abuse can cause injuries or even death.
Today we are going to talk about the three main forms of child abuse, which are physical abuse, sexual abuse, and emotional abuse. So, what does physical abuse mean? Physical abuse is when a parent or caregiver takes action of a child by causing non-accidental injuries. There are many signs of child abuse like kicking, burning, beating, and even whipping. Even when the actions are non-intentional, it is labeled as abuse once the child is injured. Discipline which does not injure a child is not considered as child abuse. Bruises, cuts, brain damage, and even death can be the outcome of physical abuse. The signs of physical abuse by the parent or caregiver would be when the child is kept from activities or even school. They would be unable to explain the injury of the child and takes the child to different doctors or hospitals. There will be signs of a child's abuse, such as visible and severe injuries at different stages of healing, and the child will show fear, anxiety, or when they seem scared of other parents or adults.
Next is sexual abuse. Sexual abuse occurs when an adult uses a child for sexual purposes or involves a child in sexual acts. The Incest Survivors Resource Network states that the erotic use of a child, whether physically or emotionally, is a sexual exploitation in the fullest meaning of the term. Even if no bodily contact is ever made, it is important to notice that this clause about no sexual contact. Often, victims of sexual abuse will try to downplay the experience by saying that it wasn't that bad. The withdrawal and mistrust of adults, suicidality, difficulty relating to others except in sexual or seductive ways, unusual interest in or avoidance of all things sexual or physical, sleeping problems such as frequent nightmares or fears of going to bed, frequent accidents or self-injurious behaviors, refusal to attend school or to the doctors or home, sexual components to drawings and games, unusual sexual knowledge or behavior, forcing sexual acts on other children, or extreme fear of being touched. Outcomes of sexual abuse. By far the most common effect of sexual abuse is post-traumatic stress disorder. Symptoms can extend far into adulthood and can include withdrawn behavior, reenactment of the traumatic event. Another legacy of sexual abuse is that the children abused at any early age often becomes hypersexualized or sexually reactive. Issues with promiscuity and poor self-esteem are unfortunately common reactions to early sexual abuse.
Lastly is emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is when a parent or caregiver maltreats the child's mental and social development, which causes drastic emotional change. Usually, emotional abuse can create a pattern and will cause a damage over time. By rejecting and ignoring the child, telling them that they are unwanted or unloved, by not initiating affection, and even calling them names or mocking them are ways to abuse a child emotionally. Worst of all, the child can be isolated from the peers and also motivating the child to misbehave. The parent will repeatedly ignore and criticize the child and can have poor anger management with favoritism over siblings. The child can show signs like having phobias, overly defensive with extreme emotions, and even have suicidal thoughts, which can be the outcome of depression. The child can commit crimes such as stealing, vandalism, and violence.
Reasons to why child abuse happens: lack of parenting skills, parental stress, family hardships, alcohol and substance abuse, economic difficulties or poverty, depressions, domestic violence, or previous victimizations.
Stable family relationship are ways to prevent child abuse. Kids should have access to healthcare and social services with household rules applied. The parents should monitor the child so that the child wouldn't excessively watch violent films and videos which can harm them.
Child abuse is extremely severe and we should stop any kind of abuse, including the main ones. There are many factors that can trigger the point to abuse any child. Child abuse should be prevented and taken notice of.
Yes, cases should be reported to websites online like help@nspcc.org.uk. They can help children within 24 hours and decide what actions should be taken.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed today's video, abuse that like button and hit the bell below to subscribe to 2Pictures and get notified for more content. Catch you in the next video!